Hello everyone, this is Joe here with Joe Talks, and today we are going to take a look at a dog collar that you can use to set up a GPS virtual fence in your yard. And so, before we get started, as always, if you like this video or any of my content helps you, please help me out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, this is the GPS collar that we're going to look at, and this is made by the company iPetLore is the name. We purchased this through Amazon, and it was right around $100, a little bit less than $100. This is model ZF500, and should be able to find it on Amazon or any other pet market store. So if you've never looked at or know anything about a GPS dog collar, these are a good viable alternative to what you might commonly know about as a wired fence or a wireless fence. You may have heard of those, and those are systems where you have to actually go out and put a physical wire like underground or somewhere in your yard, and then your dog wears a collar, and then when they get close to that wire, it beeps or vibrates or shocks. And we don't ever set anything up with shocks. We always set that value to 0 just because I think that's kind of cruel to shock a dog. But anyway, if you're like us, we live out in the country and we have kind of a big yard, and putting a wire all the way around our yard is not really an option. It's just not feasible. And so having a GPS system, it has worked out very well for us. And so we bought this. Just to disclose, I have taken this out of the box and used it for a little bit just to kind of get familiar with it. But the way that these things work is you get them powered up and you get all the settings set, and then you can set an origin somewhere in your yard. For example, we set our origin right at our front door is like 000, right, an origin point, just like you'd have in any like CAD system, for example. And then the way this works is if your dog can move all around a preset active area, and then you set that radius of how large you want that circle to be, and then it goes into, when they go past that limit, it sets off a warning, and so it starts beeping and vibrating, and then when it goes beyond a warning zone, then it kind of ramps up the intensity of the correction. And so ideally, your dog would hear that beep or that vibrate and run back home, right? Because it might give them some indication that they've gone where they're not supposed to. So this is the box, and this is what the system looks like. I have all the components that originally came in this box. Like I said, I already opened it. But just to start out with, it has a couple of documents here. It has a user's manual. Obviously, this goes through all of the different setup instructions, how to set your radius and turn it on, and set the sensitivity and the intensity levels of the beeps, the vibrates, and the shock, should you decide to use that option. And then there's also a training guide. This kind of goes through some different tips and tricks on how to train your dog and various things of that nature. And so this is what the unit looks like. Comes right out of the box. It does come with a protective cover over the LCD screen, so it has an LCD screen, and then it has a power button, has an origin button that you use to set the origin, and then it has some buttons that you can use to scroll through the different screens that display. It does come with a collar. A lot of times with these type of bark collars or dog collars, they'll have removable collars. These are a permanent collar. They're riveted in place, so you're not going to be able to change that out. The company does advertise that this works well with all different sized dogs. We are using ours on a Alaskan Husky, about 70 pounds, and there is plenty of collar left. Realistically, we would probably cut some of this off. But there's quite a bit of adjustment, so you should be able to use this for just about any size of dog. It does come with the different prongs for the shock portion or the vibrate. Short has a short set for your short-haired dogs and a longer set for your longer-haired dogs. And then it does have a wrench and a test device there to test out the I think the shock portion. It does come with a charge cable. The charging cable is just a standard USB that would plug into your laptop or a charging block. It does not come with a charging block, so you will need to find one from your cell phone or something to use. The charging portion, there's a couple of exposed terminals back here, and this is a magnetic chuck charger, so you can see how it just sticks right on, and then when you need to take it off, so on and so forth. It will not go on backwards. And this is not interchangeable with other dog collars. Like we have a bark collar. You may have seen one of my previous videos. It has a similar magnetic chuck. I tried to use that charger on this device and it did not charge it up. So I suspect the polarity of these prongs may be backwards. So just keep that in mind. When you do charge it, it does give you an indicator on the front LCD screen of how much charge you've got left on the battery, which is kind of handy. And then it also comes with some training aids, and so these are just some markers that you can put in your yard. They're flags where you can kind of set up at that boundary so that your dog has a kind of a visual indicator to know when they've reached those different zones, just kind of help with training the dog. And then that is it. So that's all that is in the box. So we'll just do a real quick setup on this just to walk through how to set it up. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Everything I'm getting ready to go through is clearly spelled out in the manual, so you can go through that in more detail as needed. So to turn it on, you just do a long press. So there's a red button and a black button. So like I said, the red is the power, the black is the origin set point. So you just do a long press, like for 3 seconds, of the power button to turn it on. And so there we see it turned on, and it has a pretty nice LCD display. The LCD display, it shows the GPS strength, so shows you how strong the satellite signal is, and it says in the instructions that you really need at least 3 bars worth of strength for this thing to work properly. It also shows a display of what the different settings are for intensity for the shock, the vibrate, and the beep. There you saw the screen auto highs. To turn it back on, just tap the power button. And then it also shows you what the radius is that you've got set for your fence, and then the active feet from the origin point. And so to set the origin point, you just go out to wherever you want your 0 point to be, and you do a long press of the black button, and that sets the origin point. And then to set the radius, you just tap the power button. And so that there you see the screen just change to the boundary settings. And so then you can use the left or right arrows to set the radius. And so there I've got mine set at 150 feet. But I think you can set this up to, it says on the Amazon ad, 6,561 feet. So it looks like you can set this thing up to go, almost a mile radius. So that's a pretty big radius. And then I think you can go down to like 30 feet, like pretty small. I think all that's spelled out in the instructions. But so you set that origin, set your distance, and then you can set the settings for the shock, vibrate. So hit the origin point, and there you can see in the video it blinks to tell you which thing you're setting. And so you just use the left and right arrow buttons to turn the intensity of that up or down. So here you can see in our settings we've got the shock set to 0, the vibrate and the beep are both at about 50%. And that's just where we set them. Seems to work okay. Like I said, I don't set the shock just because I think that's a cruel thing to do. And so, and that is it. And that is the setup of the unit. And then to turn it off, you just do a long press of the power button. The screen does need to be active. I've noticed that for it to turn off. So if the screen's not active and you just hold the power button, it won't do anything. But if you long press the power button with the screen active, it'll turn off. So there, it turned off. One other thing with this is if your dog goes into the correction zone and it stays, he or she stays in the correction zone for too long, it'll put this into and I don't know what the mode is called, but like a fault mode where it turns the correction off if the dog stays in the correction zone for too long. And that's kind of important because you don't want your dog going beyond that zone. If they for some reason can't find their way back home, you don't want this thing just going off continuously. So it does turn itself off after so many cycles of correction, which is nice. But that is it, and I will put this on our dog and I will go demonstrate how it works. But again, if you found this useful, help me out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until the next one, I appreciate you watching my videos. Alright, thank you. Okay, so there we can see that we've got, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but we got 3 bars, and it's showing that we are 26 feet away from our origin. And so there is Coda. Say hi, Coda, to YouTube land. We are going to go demonstrate. So let's, come on, Coda, let's go. Let's go. Okay, and so there the beep just went off. He's in the warning zone. And there he just came back and it stopped beeping. So that is how the GPS fence works. Seems to work okay. Alright, so there we go. So again, if you found this helpful, help me out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until then, we will see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.